There's a perfect storm brewing on the world's oceans right now. And it's not just one thing. It's this powerful mix of conflict, corporate power, and climate change that's making waves way beyond the shipping industry. And trust me, it's affecting all of us.
So think about it for a second. The fuel in your car, your morning coffee, the phone you're probably holding. What do they all have in common? It's a simple question, but the answer is absolutely massive. Pretty much everything we use relies on one giant interconnected system. And that system is the ocean. But right now, those global highways, the very arteries of our world economy, are getting squeezed from 3 different directions all at once. Things are in turmoil. Okay, so let's dive into our first pressure point. This is the most immediate crisis. We're talking about a geopolitical flashpoint in a supercritical strait that has sent, well, shockwaves through the entire energy market.
We're looking at the Strait of Hormuz. It is one of the most vital oil choke points on the entire planet. And with tensions escalating, traffic there has slowed to a crawl. A lot of shipping companies are just not willing to risk it. And the scale of this problem, it's just staggering. Right now, you've got over 150 tankers just sitting there, anchored in the Gulf, waiting for the go-ahead, waiting for the risk to die down. That is a huge chunk of the world's energy supply just sitting idle. And while they wait, the price goes through the roof. Get this, the daily earnings for just one of those big crude carriers on a key route have soared past $400,000 a day. That's an incredible figure, and you know that cost has to go somewhere.
So this is the really crucial part, the ripple effect. See, a problem in one little strait doesn't stay local, not at all. It immediately jacks up energy prices, freight rates, and of course, insurance costs. And because all those tankers are stuck, the supply of ships everywhere else gets tighter, which just pushes prices up across the board. Now, while all of this high-stakes drama is unfolding out on the water, an equally powerful shift is happening inside the industry. It's all about who owns the ships and what that power really means for the prices we all pay. Yeah, behind the scenes, there's been this major consolidation of power. One company in particular has been making some seriously big moves, and they've been quietly reshaping the entire market for what are called very large crude carriers, or VLCCs. And what's really wild is just how quickly this has happened. South Korea's Sinokor now controls a staggering 10% of the entire global fleet of these massive, non-sanctioned tankers. For a single company to have that much influence, well, in a market this big, that's a game changer. And this quote right here, it nails exactly why this matters so much. When one player controls that much of the fleet, they can basically play the market. They can influence the real-time price of shipping by holding ships back to drive prices up or releasing them to push prices down. That is a ton of power over global oil prices.
All right, so the third and final force we're looking at is a bit different. It's not a sudden crisis, it's more of a slow-burn challenge that's going to reshape shipping for decades to come, the fight against climate change.
3%. That's shipping's share of the world's total greenhouse gas emissions. Now, I know, 3% might not sound like a lot, but think of it this way. If the shipping industry were a country, it would be one of the top 10 biggest emitters on Earth. The pressure to change is immense.
So the biggest idea on the table right now is a global carbon tax. The International Maritime Organization is debating a whole framework that would make polluters pay. And the goal is a big one: push the entire industry to net zero emissions by the middle of the century.
So you might be asking, okay, a giant tax, but where does all that money actually go? Well, this slide breaks it down. The revenue from that tax, we're talking potentially billions of dollars a year, would be used to kickstart a green revolution. It'd fund new fuels like ammonia and methanol, build the port infrastructure needed to handle them, and of course, invest in new low-carbon ship technology.
But here's the thing. The world isn't really waiting. While that big global debate is still going on, the European Union is already charging ahead. Starting in 2026, ships that call at EU ports are going to have to pay for their emissions under the EU's own system. This kind of regional action is forcing ship owners to adapt now instead of just waiting for some future global agreement. And it's not all about some far-off future fuels either. Companies are already finding clever ways to cut emissions today. We're talking about stuff like using data to know exactly when to clean a ship's hull to reduce drag, putting solar and wind assist tech on board, and just plugging into shore power at ports. It's all making a difference. So when you step back and put it all together, The conflict, the market consolidation, and this huge green transition, it becomes crystal clear that the old rules of shipping just don't apply anymore.
This new reality is really defined by these three interconnected forces. You've got geopolitical risk creating all this volatility. You have fleet concentration, which means less competition and a few powerful players controlling prices. And then, hanging over everything, is the immense cost of decarbonization. The real challenge for the industry is trying to balance profit with this new, very complex world.
And that really leaves us with this one last thought. Global trade connects all of us, for sure. But navigating this perfect storm of risk, well, it comes with a cost. So the fundamental question is, as all these pressures keep building, who's the one that ultimately pays the price?